Right, so we've got our own Pathfinder diagnostics now. So we're going to have a look at seeing what's wrong with the car. So we've plugged it into the ODB2 port. We used a dongle we've got from Diagnostics Associates, which allows us to connect to the car. So let's have a look what's in there. So we can go into the ECU diagnostics, and it's got some, this tells us what fault codes we've got. So we've got some in the driver assistance domain controller, but I'm not worried about that. The module we need is the near field sensing module, or the NFSM as they seem to call it. So we've got rear camera no signal, left mirror camera, right mirror camera no signal, front bumper camera no signal. And then we ought to test the camera and see whether we have got the cameras as well, Tyler. We seem to have all the cameras. That's or has it not got the side? We've got.
Because the doors are open.
Is that because the doors are open? Good point, Mr. Tyler. Let's have a look.
Yeah, you can see on my side.
You can see on my side. Let's just move the car backwards and forwards just a little. We've got cables running everywhere, Tyler. So a bit. That's it. We've got all the. We've got the parking sensors working. Yeah. See if the parking sensors go off at the front a bit. Have we got the front parking sensors working? Or have they
They're not beeping.
They're not beeping, are they? The rear ones were, they weren't.
Oh,
yeah, there we go. Right, so we're all working. So let me just explain. The near field sensing module controls the front parking sensors, of which there are, I think, 6 on this car, because we've got some at the sides as well, haven't we? And the rear parking sensors, which I think there are 4, and the weight sensors, which are just parking sensors. They've been promoted, I think, Tyler. I think they've been moved up from the bumper, elevated to the dizzy heights of the mirror. So that must be, if I was a parking sensor, I think I'd rather be a weight sensor than a parking sensor. So that's what the near field sensing module controls. So we've got so just scan again, Tyler, just because obviously you're looking at historic data. You just need to re-scan again. Right, so there we go. So we've just read the fault codes again. So we've got lost communication with the active grille shutter. We know that because that's the one we removed to fit the winch, right? We know that. Gear shift control module. It's still not happy with the component failure in there. I don't even know what the DAD... Near sealed fencing module. Event dive... invalid serial data received. So this seems to be saying it's not happy with something there. So right, let's have a look where the near field sensing module is. So we have to take out this carpet mat thing here. So this is obviously, I love the Defender. It's got this sort of one piece mat thing, and basically we have got to take this out. So I think we're gonna have to take out this trim here. We're gonna have to take the seat out because it's clipped in under the seat here, and this panel here looks like it's all one panel all the way down to here. Oh, okay, so we'll have the seat out. We'll show you as we go, but this is the plan. Seat, the doorstep trim, and then we'll try and take the seat out. I think we'll have to take this panel out that forms the underside of the glove box there. Right, let's go hunting for the near field sensing module. So Tyler's taken the chair out, so fairly straightforward. 4 bolts, 2 front, you have to slide it and get those out. And it's this carpet mat, this little plastic bracket there. And then it looks like it's held in with these. They don't look like they've... If you had that out, Tyler, of that not...
I've loosened it.
I've loosened it. You made it so I can look. So they're those sort of fir tree fixings. They've clearly been out a couple of times now. So that's one of them there. We've got a wire going through there, Tyler.
Yeah.
So we're going to have to unplug that wire there. This inner A panel wants to come out. Take the rubber. Let's have a look. There we go. See that fella lifted that up at the bottom there? It's not the... It's quite a tricky thing to video, these interiors, aren't they? So what have we got? We've got a clip there. Now, I wonder whether the guys... Because look, that... I think the guys haven't put that back in right, because that's not floppy, is it?
Well, we've never been in here before.
We haven't been in here before, so I think they've damaged that, putting it back together. Not to worry. Right then, we're not worried. The car's for driving, isn't it? Right now. Okay, we'll have to get under here. Let me have a look under here and work out what's going on. Right, rather than filming there, Tyler's taken this out. So basically, there's these two little prongs at the back, and they actually go into the carpet panel. We'll see that we're taking out. So this is why you need to take this out. And there are 3 bolts that go up in here. That are these bolts. And what size were they, Tyler?
7mm.
7mm. That's a rare old beast. And you've obviously got to disconnect your courtesy light fit in there. So that's that out the way. Let me put that out the way, Tyler. That's on my... So now we think we should be able to get this carpet out, don't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. Tyler's confident. Right. So we've got this front section out.
I think we just need to pull it out from under the centre console.
Yeah. It looks like it's tucked under there, doesn't it?
But I think it'll just be tucked and not
yeah.
held in.
Oh, it's sort of not a give, but it also sort of fighting you at the same time, isn't it? There you go. Oh, yeah, there's a lot of give in that. It's all quite rubbery, isn't it? There we go. That should be it out. There we go. Right. So that is a Land Rover Defender floor mat. So that is the floor mat there. Let's have a look at that. There you go. And that's all out intact.
So if you want to replace it.
And what does that reveal, Tyler? Let's have a look. Pass me the torch. So it looks like we've got a plate under here. There you go. Oh, there's a little sort of... It's like the smart car, isn't it, Tyler?
Yeah.
And the smart car's got... The battery's actually in this location on the smart car. And it's got like the spare tools in a little polystyrene square like that. Well, there we go. So it looks like we've got a plate here. Look at the wire in here, Tyler. I mean, we haven't seen all this before. We haven't been in there, but it's all sort of taped up with holes and bits and pieces in it. Now, obviously, one concern I've got is, has any water got in here? But let's have a look. There you go. Okay, so we'll get this out. It looks like, what, a 10mm socket there. I'm not sure which one we take off here, but we'll have a look and we'll show you, and we'll see if we can find that near field sensing module. Right, Tyler's having a go at this. So what bolts we got out there, Tyler? So you got so you've gone for the ones that hold that are bolt in the aluminium plate, and that seems to be loose. Right, and what were they, 10mm?
Yeah, they're all 10mm.
10mm. Right, you need your... Go on then. The big reveal, Tyler. Yeah. Oh. It's going to fight you. Funny. Right, there you go. Right, if you slide out the way, Tyler, I'll slide in and we'll have a look what we've got going on in here. So that is the near field sensing module. So it looks like it's held on there with a bolt there and one the other end. Okay, so that is the near field sensor module. I'm going to hold the light, Tyler. So let's have a look. We've got various connections on here. So I think it does some of the camera. So these are like the camera connections. These are like the sort of the coax wires for the cameras. There's a FACRA connector there. There's some sort of earth there. And this is the main connector where all the wires go. Now I have done a wiring diagram based on what I've downloaded. So I think we do need to check some of the voltages on these pins, because this sends out... Well, let's go and have a look at the wiring diagram and have a discuss about that. Right, I've drawn this drawing. I might well put it on the screen, but let me just annotate it to explain it. So this is the near field sensor module, which is located, as you've already seen, in the footwell here. And basically this is what the weight sensor in the mirror looks like, and it's got 3 wires going to it. It's got the positive, negative, and a signal wire. Now they go into so obviously that's the location. This is my picture of a mirror. There's a connector at the top of this door here in this triangle, which is basically the mirror connector. The mirror's got one connector that plugs in there. And these are the pin numbers in the mirror connector, pin 19, 20, 21. Now, the problem seemed to be, according to the dealer, that they weren't getting the 12 volts on this pin here. This is sort of what I've sort of heard roughly from them. It wasn't ultra clear. So I'm just going to try and see. Now what I've done is I've disconnected this connector here. So there's a connector here in this line, which is actually this door connector. So I'm going to disconnect this just to make sure that there's no shorts or anything that are dragging this 12 volts down. And let's see if we get 12 volts on, happily, pin 12. That's easy to remember, which is a blue and white wire. So let's just show you that door connector quickly. So this is the door connector, and this is the same on all Land Rover cars actually. And what you've got, you can't really see it. I haven't put my orange pen on it, but there's a little bit at the top that you can sort of, there's some little ears on it, and if I pull it up, there you go, you can see it now. Can you see that started to come up, this section here? And if I push it up a bit more, okay, now you can see that's up fully, and that releases the connector. Now make sure you pull it out nice and square, don't go twisting it at an angle. Take it out nice and let's have a look if we can. And if we look in there, if I put my phone on, Tyler, we can see that that's got a whole raft of connections in there. There you go, and you can see there's even a camera connector right at the bottom. Can you see that, Tyler? You can see that coax connector. So we're just looking in there, and that all looks fine. Now, so by disconnecting that, well, you can see where the mud's been on there, but there's no sign of water in there. Obviously, it's been several weeks since we went wading now. But by disconnecting the two doors now, I know there's no problem. So I'm going to just have a look with that module just connected to the car wiring loom. Start it up, put it in wade mode, and let's see what we get on that pin 12. So we see if we get the wade voltage feed to it.
Let's do it.
Right, we've started the car. We've put it in wade mode. We're still in park. We're not in drive yet. I've gone to the tile, which is the wading tile, and it keeps cycling with this message you can see here, which is, now obviously the wade sensors are disconnected. We've undone the connectors in both doors, so it's a little strange and freaky. But look, more interestingly, we need to look at the voltage we're getting. So we're not getting the voltage out to the wade sensors out of that module, but so far we've got no voltage there, which is slightly worrying. This may be the problem that the dealer was saying. Right, just started it again. We've got the doors connected, we've got the doors closed. We'll go into wade sensing. Okay, we've cleared the. Okay, it's greyed out now, interestingly, Tyler. Now, it wasn't greyed out before, was it? When it was disconnected. Interesting. The plot thickens. Right, we've closed the doors. So you've got to make sure your doors are closed, I think. And we'll check it. But basically, we have got pin 12. We have turned it on. We've selected wade sensing. And you are not going to believe it, everything's working, and we've got 11.78 volts. Now let's just see, Tyler, we haven't even got the engine running, we've just got the ignition on. If I open the door, it maintains the voltage, doesn't it? So it's nothing to do with the door open. We're not in any off-road mode. Let's see if I go out of, let's cancel wade mode. Yeah, okay, so it is intelligent. You have to select wade mode. So when it's off, you've got about 0.26 volts. When you select wade sensing, touchy screen, there you go, it flicks straight over. So there we go. So we have unplugged some things, we have replugged some things, we have done not a lot, have we, Tyler? No. But I think it's these hands, Tyler. Have I told you the story, Tyler? I did tell it you earlier, didn't I? So I'll tell everyone the story. So I used to live and work in Thailand. I was an engineering manager at an electronics factory out there. They closed the UK business I was working for that used to be part of IBM and moved it out to Thailand. And they selected me and about 10 other guys. And we went out and we built a factory, and we had 2,000 people working for us. And we used to go out for lunch and eat khao man gai, which is chicken and boiled rice. The factory was in Lamphun, which is in the north of Thailand, on an industrial estate there. And we're going out for lunch one time, and there was this lady, she was a project manager, and said, "Oh, Simon, you're good with cars. My rear windows stopped working, and it was stuck halfway down on her car." So I said, don't worry, Lily, I'll fix it. So I went up to her car and I laid my hands on her car and I said, demons, be gone, like that. And I said, it worked now, try it. And it worked. And yeah, I was a legend from then on. But I honestly don't know what I've done. What have we done? We have driven the car. We have driven the car with the mat out. Now, I wonder if where we've got the heaters blowing on that module, whether it's dried something out in the wiring. Has Land Rover done a software update and sneakily sent it in? I mean, I think our software level's the same. I have absolutely no idea. But all I know is we had 2.5 weeks at the dealer, a lot of stress and no solution. And Tyler and I have had it back here for a week. And we've only just looked at this and it's working. So it could be a 10-minute fault. But there we go. We have weight sensors. So we're happy now, Tyler, aren't we?
Yeah.
What are we going to do next? Activity key next, isn't it? We're going to work out the activity key. Right. Thanks for all your support over the last couple of weeks. And there we go. And I think Friday we might go out wading. We'll go try that Ford again, shall we? What I might do is leave the carpet out. Because I still have a suspicion that water could have got in when I was wading and somehow affected the wiring or the module there. And maybe we should just put Pathfinder on it again, Tyler, and just see what fault codes are on it now it's working. Because then we can compare the previous fault codes to these fault codes. So I'll get Tyler to do that now. Right, the mystery continues. Right, so while we are playing with our weight sensors, which are parking sensors, as we've already established, we thought we'd get the picoscope out, which is a sort of oscilloscope that you can plug into your computer, your laptop. And it's quite cool. And you can buy for £20 odd, you can buy on eBay and other e-commerce platforms one of these little transducers. So a parking sensor is like a bat. It sends out ultrasound, boom, and it listens for the rebounded ultrasound, boom, coming back. And depending how long it takes, boom, boom, to go backwards and forwards, it tells how far apart it is. Now, so in a parking sensor, you have both a transmitter and a receiver to listen to it coming back. So this here has a receiver in, and it can listen to the coming from here. Right, now if I stick this, we've got the weight sensors on. Have a look in the screen there, Tyler. Are they still on?
Yep.
And if I hold that underneath here by the weight sensors, and then if I earth the oscilloscope, I have to earth it because otherwise it gets a lot of noise. You can see that is the signal. That's the bat ultrasound noise. And as I move further away from it, you see it gets smaller. And that's it. As I move closer to it, you can see the ultrasound. I'm in the wrong place, Tyler. Hold on. Or was it? Right, now we can also do that on all the parking sensors. So this is a tool you can use to check if your parking sensors are working. Some people say you can feel them. I'm not that sensitive, Tyler. I can't feel anything happening there. Yeah, you can.
I thought you were going to say too in tune with the car.
No, if you press too hard, you can't feel anything.
Ah.
But if you just literally press, so your fingers literally just touching it, you can feel a little... That's weird. So there we go. So that's a technical and not so technical way of checking your parking sensors. So we have all our parking sensors now. We'll just go around and check them and check that there's nothing weird. Because obviously we sort of think we fixed it, but we're sort of not sure. Now, there is one more interesting thing. God, we look flash, don't we, Tyler? We look like super tech.
Technology.
Yeah. We ain't got a clue what we're doing. All the gear, no idea. That's me and Tyler. Right.
The box does the work.
Ian wrote to us, hi Ian, and he said, oh Simon, I was looking at the weight sensor, and you put up the wiring diagram with the weight sensors, and it all looks quite simple, as you conveyed, but it turns out the guys who invented this were actually, and it was only invented in 2007. Apparently we'd had some floods, and they decided they needed a way of determining how deep vehicles were going through floods to ascertain how dangerous it was for them. And they decided to use parking sensors, but mounted in the mirrors looking down, and we all get that. But apparently there's another funky thing that goes on. It's because one problem they had was that the parking sensors that are low down, when they got covered in water, they went haywire, because all of a sudden they were just like surrounded by stuff. But actually they sort of use that as a feature, because ultrasound, that little boom, boom, apparently when it's underwater, it travels really quickly. So when you're above water, you get a boom, boom. But when you go underwater, it goes boom, boom, and comes back. So they could tell when they got that change. That's brilliant. They could tell Tyler's grinning away under his mask. I can
It's
see
ridiculous.
him grinning. Because of the change of the speed of the ultrasound in water compared to air, they saw a step change, and they could also work out when the parking sensors were underwater. So Ian was worried and sort of implied that maybe it's not just as simple as just these two weight sensors. The system might have been showing blocked because any one of the sensors might be used in this algorithm looking at whether stuff's underwater or not. But anyway, we're working, we'll just check everything. And at least if we check some waveforms now, we've got a base point, because I just like to check things when they're working, because when they then stop working, we know already we can test that pin 12 voltage for 12 volts with the doors open, as long as we've got wave sensors. So at least I know what I'm looking for if, heaven forbid, it goes wrong again. But there we go, picoscope, brilliant little tool, and this little bat ear on a wire. How cool is that? A bat ear on a wire. Right, let's get on. Right, so we're sat in the car with our weighed-in sensors working. So before we go near any water, we are going to test it out. So we got Harry on the left side, we got Tyler on the right-hand side, and they got little bits of cardboard, cute cardboard. And what they're going to do is they are going to put the cardboard next to the weighed sensor like that. But we're going to start. Right, so start with the bottom of the doors. Right, now look at this. You see, this is tricky. Now, there's a couple of things I want to see. I want to see what warning messages we get. So that's telling me it's about level with the middle of the wheels. Does that look about right?
Yeah, it's about right.
It's about right. Right, go up to the top of the door trim. There we go. Look, that's the top of the door trim. And it's telling me it's going on. My max is 0.9, so I'm not there yet. Right, go to the underside of the air intake. Right, oh look, critical weight alert. Right, vehicle set in off-road height, which we've got anyway. I was wondering if it would raise the suspension, but it hasn't raised the... Oh, right, now go up halfway up the air intake. Right, so look, now it's telling me... No, it's telling me we've maxed it out now. Now, interestingly, if Harry puts his down, it take yours away altogether, Harry. Yeah, you've got to have both of them, because Tyler's not changed his, so it's looking for constant on both sides. It's doing that averaging thing I talked about. Right, but it didn't raise the suspension to super extended mode. So that would have been funky if you could trick it with weighed mode to go into super extended. So how did it detect super extended mode when we went weighed in the other day? It must have checked that, it must have seen a different load on the suspension or something, some trickery and wizardry. But yeah, it might be, and we're not driving. Maybe you have to be driving. But there we go. So you cannot. That's what I was trying to do like 6 weeks ago. You can't trick your car into hyper extended mode using cardboard or other sheets under the weight sensors. But there we go. I think that'll be enough for the day. I think we've done weight sensors to death, don't you, Tyler?
That's all we wanted to do.
That's all we wanted to do. Right, we're done.